Tonight is Tuesday, June 9th. You're watching Wine with Dave, Racism Week. All I ask is two things. Have an open mind and ask a lot of questions. Good evening. Good evening, everybody. Make sure I got my Blue Yeti microphone on. The other night it was off for a minute. It's running the different kind of microphone that I'm used to. I hope everyone's having a good time. It is Tuesday, June 9th at 9 p.m. This is Wine with Dave. It is wine o'clock, and it's going to be wine o'clock for the next 60 minutes. Normally, Monday to Friday, I have just a fun little comical, well, that could be debatable, comical show. And I bring guests on and I promote their business and promote who they are. Creative people, business owners, entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, you name it. And then something happened. I changed it to Wine with Dave Racism Week, and I'll get into that in a second. But if you're here for the first time, please like the page. That would be really good. Also, everybody, leave a comment. Tell me where you're from. Let's see where people are from. A lot of people here. Joe Reddish, good evening, Dave. Wyoming, Rhode Island. When I first got my license, Joe, I drove to Wyoming, Rhode Island because I couldn't wait to go there. My parents wouldn't take me. And I'm like, I want to go to Wyoming, Rhode Island. That was the first place I went. It is small. Justin Taylor. Come on, Justin. Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. That's cool. Hello, everyone. Kristen from Providence. Rick Greenwood, I'm on. Hey, what is it? It's Tuesday. Is it Taco Tuesday for Rick? Rick has been the longest listener. Yeah, he listens long. Good evening, Deb. Where are you from, Deb? I know Deb Burton. I can't remember what, Smithfield? Greenville is here. Alana Hewitt Crava. I love the women on Facebook. They've got their maiden name. They sound like authors. Best-selling book by Alana Hewitt Crava. That's cool. Just the guys just have their first and last name. Olinda, good evening, Dave. Olinda, great questions. I'm expecting a lot from you tonight. Melissa, tuning in from Connecticut. Great to see you as well. Sal and EG. Man, I feel like the Smuckers man. I keep saying that. We got Sal and EG. Sal is turning 100 today. Anyway, he's not. He's getting there. He's getting close. Tonight is a big night, guys. It's a big night. I've been waiting for this since I decided to do this. If this is your first time here, this is Wine with Dave. This is a very different look. It's black and white. It's Racism Week. I wanted to devote a week to this, but go ahead and like the page. A few weeks ago on May 28th, on a Thursday night, I watched the video of the last moments of George Floyd, and I was flawed. I made a decision that night that I would do something. I would use this show as a vehicle to just let the black voice be heard. Why not? I know a lot of black people, and I just think it's the right thing to do, right? And plus, this show is kind of like eavesdropping. You're on your phone, you're flipping through, you see it. It's like, wow, I'm just listening to a conversation back and forth. We all get educated when we listen to people, right? So that's kind of the point of the show. But I'm going black and white because I believe that it's hip and cool. It does look cool to be black and white. But also, figuratively speaking, the issue of regarding racism is a black and white issue for me, okay? The opinions expressed on the show is from me. Actually, not the opinions of the guests, but my opinions. So I believe it is a black and white issue. Black people have not been treated the same as white people, and in my opinion, that is black and white. There's no gray area there. For me, okay? So, like I said in the opening video, just have an open heart, open ears, open mind, and ask questions, because that's what we're here for. Deb Burton is North Scituate, also known as R.I. Elder Info. Yeah, we got to have her on. We got to have you on soon. No pressure, Olinda. All right. So I'm going to do the Did You Know section. I want to get into this right away. It's 1 hour. My guest is 17 years old. He's waiting in the wings. So I can't wait for you to meet him if you haven't. But did you know Black Americans and white Americans use drugs at similar rates? But Black Americans are 6 times more likely to be arrested for it. That's from the NAACP Criminal Justice Facts Sheet. Did you know, on average, black men in the U.S. receive sentences that are 19.1% longer than those of white men convicted of the very same crime? That's from the U.S. Sentencing Commission, Demographic Differences in Sentencing. I mean, it's black and white. I like facts. You know, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but I just, there's nothing wrong with facts. You can't, if you deny facts, you're just in denial. And denial ain't just a river in Egypt, as they used to say. So getting into tonight, let's talk about the N-word. An hour and a half ago, I took my dogs to the beach. I'm about 2 blocks from the beach. It's really a bay. And I pull up, they get all excited. They're barking on the way down there, and I pull up, and the windows are rolled down. As I pull onto the beach, there's a little parking lot. There's one car there with about 5 teens, and immediately I hear the N-word. They're like, hey, and what's up, and I'm like, whoa. And the first thing I thought is, I'm doing the show tonight. I should interview them. First thing out of my head. So I get the dogs out. We walk by them like 10 feet away, and then they're going in the water, kind of running in the water. And then one kid yells out, "That's some ugly dogs you got there." And then he called me the N-word. So he's like, "That's some ugly dogs there, N." And I looked up. True story, hour and a half ago. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to mess with these kids. They're going to think I'm going to start a fight. But I already know what I'm going to do. I'm going to interview them. So I look up, and I just start walking over to them. And all of a sudden, they were like, yeah, giggling. And then they kind of stop. They're like, whoa, what's this mid-50s guy coming up to us for? Whoa. So I went up, and they all got quiet. And I'm like, hey, this isn't what you think. And they were like completely silent. I said, it's okay you made fun of my dogs. I make fun of them all the time. And then they started laughing. I broke the ice. But they called me the N-word. But I'll get to that. I said, I'd like to interview you guys. Do you mind? I have a show. Like, you got a show? That's cool. Yeah, it's on Facebook. Facebook, yeah, awesome. They're like high-fiving me and all that. And they were just glad I wasn't going to beat them up. As if I was going to, So they were open to it. I got my phone out, and I'm filming them, and oh my God, the swearing. They're just F-word, F-bomb. I mean, it was like I was in, I don't know, the Vietnam of F-bombs, just like bombing on me, like, get me out of this war. And it was just the F-bombs everywhere. And I'm like, all right, if you cannot swear, like, what's wrong with swearing? Because you're judging us. It was a really fiery conversation. But I managed to get some of what they said on video and had to bleep out some. One kid I could not put in at all. It was bad. I mean, he was just swearing. But I respected where he was coming from. I could see through that. Kind of an open-minded guy. So here's the video. But I want you to realize, I realized something tonight. There are 2 N-words. Check it out. Why do you use the N-word?
Well, the N-word has different meanings. It depends on how you're using it and who you're using it against. And not against, but towards. So, like, me and my friends, I'll say it just because that's my boy, that's my friend. And it depends on the energy, you feel me? It depends on the energy that's in the room. It's like, oh, that's like, and it depends, like, I don't use it with everybody. It just depends on who it is and how you're using it.
When you say the N with the ER, it's a derogatory term that hits the subconscious that remembers of the historic period, which gives people of color descent a front face of hate. When you hear people say the N with an A, it's a form of respect, of psychicism, which is an open-minded sense of, like, you say, oh, my N-word A. like a friend like my brother or my friend, a good friend, and if it's like somewhere off and they're making no sense of the conversation, you say the N with the with the A, you're like bro, in that type of term. So at the end of the day, you understand the energy behind that, and therefore like I don't have to talk at that point because I just broke racism in a nutshell. At that point, it's for you guys to understand that. Like what?
Did you catch that? I know he was fast. He just explained racism in a nutshell. There are two words. There's the N word with the A, which is brotherly love. Hey, it's like my brother. And then there's the N word with the ER. That's bad. That's flat out racist hatred. You might completely disagree with me, but it's true. If you want to understand the youth of America, you got to understand their language. And I was enlightened. And by the way, when I first showed up at the beach and they were like, hey, yo, you got some ugly dogs, and they used the brotherly love N word. I know this sounds very controversial, but that's why they were kind of in a playful mood. They were actually kind of joking with me, and I kind of joked back, so I blended with them. They were also high. They were very high. But I just wonder what your thoughts are on that. There are two N words. Didn't know if you knew that. And you know, I'm in my 50s, and I think people our age are like, no, you can't use the N word at all. But we are handing the baton of the next generation to kids that age. And if that is common, the N word with the A on the end, like brother, then if that becomes a common word, do we have to get used to that? Or do we say, no, I will never get used to any way you spell it? But apparently, have an open mind, all right? That's what I said in the beginning. Have an open mind. There are two N words. Curious what you guys think. Deb Burton, don't ever think that you can say either version. You know, I lean that way. That's where I lean, and I appreciate that. Kristen, it's true. It's like a term of endearment to young folks. It is, and I heard that 10 years ago. Saw some skaters, long-haired white kids, couple black kids, maybe 5 white kids, 2 black kids, and they were all like, hey, my brother, but it was the N-word, and the brother, but it was like, and they're high-fiving, they're doing kick flips and all that. They're loving each other. They were not calling each other out. They weren't calling the N-word as us older folks know. But I think it is bad because it does carry a historical weight that is heavier than anything. It's if they really knew. So I guess what I should have asked them is, have you guys studied history? And I didn't, but they probably have. But clearly they're not getting it, in my opinion, because they just wouldn't do it. But it is a cultural thing. So I don't know. Don't know what you're thinking. Olinda is, among other things, it makes white people who listen to hip-hop think that they can say it. Yeah, it's true. And Joe, who was on last night, unfortunately, the young people don't realize, most people don't hear it that way. But either way, it's not appropriate. Completely agree. That's, you know. But they kept asking me my opinion. I said, it doesn't matter my opinion. I'm here to listen to you. Kristen, another example, the uncle who can't stand babies say, what did she say? That's, hey, that's stinky. Get that stinky kid out of here. The mom who loves the baby says, come here, stinky love. I like how you come across. That's awesome. All right, we're going to get into this. It's 9:13. 9:13. I want to welcome everybody. We had over 1,100 and approaching 1,200 people watch last night's video. That was fantastic. Not for me. I mean, I felt proud, but it was like the voice is getting out there. That 1,200 people, and many, probably 92%-ish, I don't even know. I mean, I don't know that many people. Rick Greenwood, too many connotations and can be misread. Well, they were saying it. They were describing it. They said it openly. They said there's the N and there's the N. I'm like, oh, I hear the difference. But it is subtle. I don't know. Anyway, just thought I would play that video. That kind of worked out okay. And my dogs are fine, by the way. They were not insulted when they insulted my dogs. They can take a lot. Tonight's guest is Justice Smith. He's 17 years old. He loves video games, freestyle parkour. That's, the guys that run and jump over buildings and stuff. He loves listening to Childish Gambino, which the coolest videos, by the way. I saw that one video, and all of a sudden the gunshot went off, and I was like, I don't know what video that was by him, but whoa, did that grab me by the heart. He listens to Rich Brian. These are some of his music things. He loves rock climbing. You can find him rock climbing and longboarding. He probably can't do a kickflip. I'm looking at him right now. He can't do a kickflip to save his little soul. So he gets the longboard. And I would do that. Get on a longboard and you're cruising. Lifetime Patriots fan. And he's a blacksmith. We can talk about that. And he's black. And his last name is Smith. So he joked about that he's literally a blacksmith. But he made swords in school. So I'm just going to bring him on right now. Ladies and gentlemen, I bring on Justice Smith. Hey, Justice, how are you?
I'm doing well, Dave. How are you?
Good. I'm just bringing up my color here.
Nice.
Since we're talking about color this week, I figured that I wouldn't keep both of us in black and white for the interview. Gets a little boring, but how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing pretty good. Just for the most part of the day, I was working on school stuff. Mm-hmm. It's the end of the year, and was thinking about the interview all day too.
Was it? I could be honest with me. Were you like stressing over it a little bit, or what went through your mind?
At the beginning of the week, I was like, or at the beginning of last week, I was stressing about it. But after like this weekend, I had a really good phone call with one of my friends who was at the protest, and then I was thinking about it, and I was like, this is a conversation that really needs to be had, especially in the current climate. But just in general, it's a good conversation to have.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I want to say you're brave. You might think, well, it's not brave, I'm just talking about it. But I think it is, because your voice does need to be heard. I mean, every black voice needs to be heard. There's I'm about to say there's too many white voices. There is, the demographics are, there are more white people in America, but so we are hearing more white voices. But I think I want this show to just get that voice out. So I'm really glad you're on the show, and I'm glad you're 17. I want to hear your perspective. Let me start by referring to that video I just played. What do you think of that? What do you think of the two N-words?
Well, for me, I didn't really hear the N-word when I was growing up. It's like, maybe the first time I heard it was probably 6th, maybe 7th grade. It was just like YouTube or music. Mm-hmm. And for the most part, I definitely agree with them. Like, there's two connotations. Like, last year in my English class, we were reading To Kill a Mockingbird. Mm-hmm. And our teacher, she was having a discussion before we read the book, like, do you agree with the uses of any version of it, or with A or ER? And I definitely understand like the history behind it, but it's such a big cultural thing now that it can pull like anybody in together. Like being able to know that you all came from a common struggle, or that you're all like brothers now with the A, but there's definitely still a lot of hatred that fuels ER. Like, there's so much toxicity online that you see that in like comments of videos and stuff, and I don't want to get too deep into that because we all know how toxicity works. Mm-hmm. But ER is bad. A depends on the energy, like they were saying, where it's coming from. It can be either way.
But in one way, we all have to work together on this planet. It's a big blue ball spinning. For some reason, there's different races and colors and sizes and shapes. We have to get along. Do you think it's a little rude on the part of some teens who use the NA, because it would kind of tick off the older folks that they don't want to hear the N-word at all? Or are they just saying, hey, I don't care about them, they're old anyway. We're just our people. The youth talks about this. Do you think that's okay, or what?
for me, there's like I don't really use either. There's like yeah, there's never been a time where I really have. And I know at school I hear it all the time. Pretty used to it now. Like when I was younger, I was like, "Whoa, what's that word?" It just like crashed into me, and I was like, "Ugh, that sounds weird."
Well, that's a
But,
great way to
like,
say it. It crashed into you. Yeah.
Yeah. Over the time, like you get desensitized to it, which isn't a good thing, but it definitely can make you more aware of like the situation that you're in because when it's like all the ways that people are like brought up and going back to your question of like is it okay for it to be used or like as time is going on, I think there definitely should be a wane away from it, especially since we're moving towards so much positivity in the black community.
Mm-hmm.
But the word itself used in the black community is like reclaiming in an attempt to make it positive
Yeah.
rather than keeping it negative.
Yeah.
So I don't really know.
Yeah, I mean, who knows, right? But I got out of that conversation with them, their spirit was like brotherly love. They loved each other.
Yeah.
And there was one mulatto, two black kids, and three black kids and one white kid. And one was like a mix. He even told me, he says, my mom's black. But they were like using it so loosely. I'm like, ooh. But I had to go up because I got the show. I'm doing a show on racism, and I'm hearing this. I'm like, I'm not going to go up and interview them. Of course I am. But it was hard to hear. But when I approached them, they were like high-fiving me, and this is great. Yeah, I'll tell you. I'll give you a lesson. And it was brotherly love. But I think, I don't know, do we look past the word and we look at the intention behind it? Do we look at the heart? Is that what matters? Or is even the word just bad and we shouldn't say it? That's kind of a struggle. Do we? I mean, I don't know. That we can go on all night for that. But Carly just says the N-word has layered of so many complexities. Yeah. And Deb, who's white, biracial, not. Oh, okay. See, I don't know. I heard mulat. I don't know. Is that a bad word? Just school me in that.
I mean, I didn't want to stop you, but like it's an outdated term now.
It's outdated. Okay. Is it bad or is it just outdated?
I think like technically it's bad. I mean, I don't really know.
All right. I apologize.
But
I
definitely go with biracial.
Biracial,
rather
okay.
Than like mulatto.
Yeah. Oh, cut me off. Look, I'm here to learn too. Okay. I'm the host, but I'm also what do you call it? The guy who sells the hair to grow your hair back. Not only am I the CEO, but I'm I'm one of the people who bought. Anyway, Joe Radish, people who have lived the pain and history of the word don't use it. Yeah, they don't use it. That's true. Carly says Negro started, then the N-word evolved from the 7th century on. I mean, we could spend the whole night on this, so it's interesting. But let me get into the other thing. What's the ongoing view of violence on blacks that you've witnessed? And how does that affect your view on people?
I mean, all my life I've definitely been witnessing crimes towards my people, but I didn't really take all that much notice when I was little because I was more focused on other things, like it either be TV or what was going on in like comic books or just toys I was playing with.
Mm-hmm.
But when I got into 6th and 7th and 8th grade, like most of middle school, it really started to like hit me what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a really like emotional time for me because I remember, I can't remember his first name, but his last name was Rice, and he, I think it was a kid who got killed in a park for using like a toy gun, like a Nerf gun or something.
Ooh.
And I just remember thinking like, me and my friends when we were younger, we'd always go in the backyard and like, we'd do Nerf gun wars, or we'd be running around the yards at like different people's houses. And it was always such a joyous time, but it could have been really tragic with one of us end up, like if we were too loud and say we had neighbors that weren't peaceful people and they just decided, oh, what we're going to do, we're going to call the cops on this family that's having a good old time and make this really tragic for them.
Mm-hmm.
So my view on people, like going back to how when I was younger I'd watch a lot of cartoons. That has contributed so much to like who I am and my view on people, because so many shows depict like good and evil and like bad actions and good actions, and with the violence sometimes they're fueled by good actions, like in the stance of black people like rioting and stuff. I'm not saying the rioting itself is good, but it's from a place where there needs to be change, and there's some people that really want it to be a positive thing, and the rioting is the rage coming out first before the positivity.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to the negativity, there's a lot there that people still like to do. So
Yeah. Well, I have someone's asking a question. This is Carly. As a young black teen, what does police brutality mean to you? Systemic racism. What's your thoughts as a teen?
Well, police brutality, that's something I'm always like a little wary of, especially since me and my friends, at least before quarantine, we'd go out skating almost like every weekend, like after my friends are done with work, or like just different times where we just go out, have a good old time. And I never really thought about how like we're playing music and stuff, and there's a family coming by and we're all like, oh, turn the music down. Like we're aware of the situation, but there's could always be a time where, say, somebody doesn't like that we're skating on a bike path,
Mm-hmm.
and they get mad and they want to bring in park police or something. And then because we're teenagers, sometimes we get mouthy. We try not to, but it happens. And then it just escalates more. So, I mean, sometimes I get mouthy. I know the friends I'm around, they get mouthy. But it's always something that's on my mind with what's going on in the situation, and being able to help them calm down. That's definitely a skill I've had to learn so that we don't have to deal with any like form of police brutality. And it's worked so far, but I mean, the climate has changed, and going outside is a scarier thing now. And police brutality is something that is so much in the forefront of our eyes, whether it be social media, the news, and like anything. It could just be on the whim, like you say something, cops like, Rhode Island's kill count is going up today, and that's it. So I got to be careful, and I try to be careful with words I say, actions I do, and the people I'm with, I try to make them careful too.
That's good. Oh, by the way, I don't mean to call you out in front of 1,100 people, but mouthy is a dated word.
That's crazy.
It's disrespectful. It's not mouthy. I'm kidding. My mouthy friend, Justice. When you're skateboarding, longboarding, which by the way is got to be really cool. That's on my bucket list. I got to do some longboarding. When you're out, do you feel like a sense of kind of like a mosquito in the back of your head saying, "Watch what you do because you're black," or does that not enter your head?
For me, like, I feel like that's always been a thing, no matter what I was doing.
Yeah.
Whether it be like, I remember like a few years ago, we were having a house party. It was for, I think, my dad's like 48th or something. He was either like wedding anniversary or
58. He was like 58, right?
sure. Some birthday or some sort of event, and we went to like a park, and I was always thinking like, we have a good mix of people here that will be safe, but if it was just me and my dad and something happens, that'd be rough. Or if it was only like a few of my friends that were there, and none of them were white or Hispanic, or like if it was all black, could be dangerous still. But I don't know. It's
that is
something that's always on my mind.
You know, that like rips me to pieces. That is really sad because I'll be honest with you, I never think that. Even when I was a kid, you go to your families and your cousins, you never think that. But I read an article where this black person was writing, and he says, there's like a trend now, at least with him and his friends, that they try to bring white friends with them when they go out and play baseball at a park or throw a frisbee at the beach or whatever, because they feel safer, because other people will see them like, oh, they have white friends, so they're probably cool, which is so bad on so many levels. But I'm sorry that you feel that. That's you've grown to just deal with that. I guess that's just a hard thing. Hey, if anyone has any questions for Justice, he told me earlier. He says there is no question that's off the page. So go ahead and ask away. And some people have asked. Let me see, Carly. When you talk to your white teen friends, how do they view racism through your experience?
Well, I know like one of my best friends, he definitely is really aware of the situation because where we like all went to school, it's such a mixed community. So I don't really know. I never really bothered to ask him that question, but I feel
Yeah.
like he has a good point of view because he really wants me to voice how I feel about the situations and how the rest of our friends feel too.
And Olinda says, do you ever feel like you have to go out of your way to prove to some people that you're not a threat? And we kind of hit on that. You're just being careful, right? I mean,
For the most part, but I never really had that where I had to go out of my way to prove that I wasn't a threat because growing up, I did martial arts and stuff, so like I can defend myself, but I've never gone on the approach of I'm coming in with the violence and then I have to numb it down to make you acknowledge that I'm not a threat,
there you go. That's a good point, right? So Deb Burton says, my heart aches for that reality. Yeah. And then Carly, have your dad shared his own racist experience with you?
Some of them, yeah. I was thinking about some of my own, like, before the interview, and, like, the shirt I was wearing, it has to do with an interaction I had with, like, a police officer. And it was such a peaceful one because I haven't had too many in my life. And most of them have been all really relaxed and laid back. Like, the one time where I
Really?
went to a track meet at Mount Pleasant.
Even
And-
because you're a mouthy teen, you still didn't have any?
Yeah, back then I was just a mouthy, like, little kid, but...
Back then, you're only 17. You got your whole life ahead of you. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry. I'm interrupting.
Back when, like, one of our family members, he came to watch me or something, and we went to a track meet that was happening at Mount Pleasant. And at the time, I think he wanted to either join the military or be a police officer. And I went to go grab a hot dog, and I wanted to go talk to a police officer and see what the job was like. And I just remember it being like, that dude was very alert of like everything that was going on. He was watching. He would break eye contact a little bit, but he always made sure to look me back in the eyes and like talk with me and not have it be so hostile. And I didn't like at the time, I don't think I ever was too aware that there was a difference between me being black and him being white, but he was just an authority figure that I understood was a cop. He's in a position of power, but he didn't want to be disrespectful or mean to me.
That's
And
awesome.
That was cool.
Yeah.
And then like a few months ago, I think like some sort of crime happened in our neighborhood, and the officers were going house to house see if like anyone had seen anything in some sort of radius, and they came in and they were asking questions. They were super polite, and one of the officers, he asked me about my shirt, and he like this logo is for a show.
Well, describe that. Describe that logo.
It's the logo is the Sharingan. It's from Naruto. It's like a ability that a certain race in the show has. But he asked me about who my favorite character was, and I don't know. There's just something nice that you can share with someone when it's not built off of hostility, even though the situation where they came to talk with us was about theft. And it was really moving that he took the time to acknowledge, oh, we have something in common. Let me talk to you about that before I continue doing my job and serve the people.
Cool. That was great. You had a great experience. Semi is saying this is a very timely show. I agree. I'm humbled that I have this, that I can do that. Yeah, and man, 1,100 people in climbing was watching last night. That's just, it's a topic we have to be talking about. So Joe Reddish, my guest last night, when you are with your friends, do you see them as black or white, brown or yellow, or are your friends first who happen to be different colors?
For the most part, the friends that I hang out with, like a bunch, it's become more of like they're not my friends, they're my brothers or my sisters. Like it's never really been bogged down to race, because the first two friends I made when I was like 3, they're both half white, and one was half Chinese, the other one's half Guatemalan, but I always knew them as my brothers.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm an only child, but they have my back as if we were like blood.
That's cool.
Yeah.
It's just, you know them as their name, and then they happen to be whatever race. That's cool.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's really cool. Well, let me get on. Got a lot of other questions, and people ask away. I only have them for a few minutes. We joked earlier that wine with Dave. I says, you don't have to drink wine because I know you're 17, but I drink wine on the show. Sometimes it's water, but I jokingly said, I'm drinking liquor with an underage kid.
I have my grape juice on the side and I have my water on the other.
Hey, let's do a virtual clink. Can we do that? So hold it in your left hand. Okay. Move it over a little to your shoulder. Ready? And then you're going to move it to in front of your right shoulder. And that's where the split is. Okay, ready?
Nice.
See if we do this right. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Whoa, dude, that was cool. You virtually clinked me.
Nice.
You got clinked. I'm still funny. I made a 17-year-old laugh. That's cool. What would you want to see change for the communities at large? What's like if you could have like a magic wand and go, if I could just change this one thing, what would it be?
Well, I definitely want to see like a more equal distribution of justice, and I want to be able to see healthy like interactions between like Black, Hispanic communities and the police, because it's so constantly toxic and like dangerous. But being able to change that in an instant, that would be like amazing.
Yeah.
And then just because I love comic books and TV shows, I'd really want to have superpowers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you had superpowers, I know what your name would be.
I mean, for me, if I became a superhero, definitely True Justice or Justice for All, one of those.
No. You'd be Mouthy Man. You would come into a scene. There's a bunch of people beating people up, race wars and all that, blacks against whites,
now,
and you just
hold on.
And you just come in
over there. You go over here.
No, and then you come in, and you mouth off, and they're all, whoa, okay, all right, dude.
They get bombarded, and then they're like, okay, it's over, guys. We gotta leave.
We gotta go. It's Mouthy Man, who can scale tall buildings with a single word. Mouthy Man. Joe Reddish likes that. That's cool. Ron Sweeney, does your dad approve of you hanging with old men that drink wine every night? I'm Wine Man, and that's Mouthy Man. We are the Freedom Justice. You know, your name is cool. I've always loved your name, and I never told you this, but your dad named you, or your mom, I don't know who, And I'm like, that is the coolest name. I thought Dylan was the coolest name. Well, it is. Dylan's watching tonight. It is a cool name, but Justice is really cool. Do you relate to Justice, especially right now? Or does it not?
I always have.
You always have,
Like,
yeah?
Yeah, like being able to watch Superman or watch Batman, Spider-Man, any superhero. I'm gonna keep listing them off if I don't
Sure.
say any superhero. Um, they always like them being able to implement justice. It spoke to me, and then my parents were like, "Yeah, you know why we named you that, right?" And I was like, "Yeah, yeah, feels good being named Justice."
It is a very, very cool name. It really is. Carly says, college plans? Does that scare you being on your own, away from home as a black boy in America? You got any college plans?
I want to go to college for engineering,
Nice.
but as of right now, it's definitely always like scary being away from home because this is my safe haven. As much as it can be
Yeah.
unsafe, it still is safe just because of how crazy the world is. But my parents, they definitely take the time to make sure I feel comfortable, and they really, really care for how I feel emotionally, and they definitely want to be able to make sure that when I do leave the house, I feel comfortable and that I don't feel like I'm in danger and stuff. So I'm not really worried about that as much as I know that I'm going to be supported. So that's good.
You've got really good parents. I hope
Yeah.
you know that, and I hope you tell them that.
I'm very, very grateful that they raised me and have continued to take care of me.
You are like the best kid, man. I feel so happy that I'm interviewing you. You're like the coolest kid. I know
Thank
my
you.
son Dylan's listening. He's awesome too as well. But and his hair is getting long, man. That's like out of control. He's like long hair, man. But you're like I'm just proud of you. I am seriously proud of you, Justice. You're doing
Thank you.
really well. Want to be an engineer? Talk to this guy, Rick Greenwood. He says, "Great job, Justice. Keep your great attitude." Joe Reddish, Eminem. I don't know what that is. Ron Sweeney, Justice is a Jambarian.
Indeed, I am.
What is a Jambarian? I don't know what that is.
Okay, so Jambarian is someone who's half Jamaican and half Liberian. My dad is from Jamaica and my mom's from Liberia.
Right. Okay. So what would I be? And I'm an I Frenchish. And I Frenchish. I'm Irish, French, Swedish. Anyway, Carly, you grew up in a church and conservative home. Has that sheltered you in a good way of some of the racism that other teens have experienced? Good question. Really good question.
I definitely feel like it has, but it definitely allowed me to be able to have a clear view on the good and bad that's happening and not like always have my anger towards what's going on take over my point of view before I'm able to stop my anger and recollect and have some logic towards what needs to happen.
Good. Another question I have. Man, a lot of questions. Olinda, besides your parents and besides me, who are your heroes? No, I'm kidding. Besides you, do you have any heroes? Anybody living or dead? Any poets? Anybody you've read? Any people who've put
I
their
don't
life
know,
on the line?
like there's a good amount of people that I look up to. Like my advisor from last year, he was gonna be my advisor for 4 years, but he got married and then moved to North Carolina. So that was sad, but like he's definitely someone that even though I still have a dad and I'm very grateful about that, he definitely became like another either uncle or father figure when I was at school, or just like if like I need extra life advice, like my dad gives me life advice, and then I'm like, let me get a second person to see if how I'm feeling is wrong or right, and then I can have the double approval that yeah, what you're doing is right or what you're doing is wrong, and here's another way that you can change it for the better.
What are you actively doing with or without your peers to be part of this movement? Have you marched yet?
I have not, but I'm pretty sure the next one that happens, I'm gonna try to go to. I know I took a break from social media last week just because it was really overwhelming. Because I've felt so strongly about the situation for however many years, and there's been tears, there's been shouting of frustration, there's been moments where I just stopped caring because it was easier than feeling very lost or filled with hatred. But I needed to take a break so that I could recollect and have a clear mind on the interview, how I would proceed for the coming future, and knowing now that I definitely want to be able to support my friends, my community, and myself, that there's a lot of stuff that I'm going to do with the current climate and stuff.
You're doing really well, by the way, in this interview. You're doing really. I know you were thinking about it. You're doing really, really well. Seriously. Aaron Kloss, a good friend of mine, just said, Justice, you're an outstanding young man. It takes a lot of courage to come on a live show, talk about such a tough topic. You give me a lot of hope for our next generation. You have a bright future ahead of you. Yeah, people are like, they're loving up on you, man. What are some of the changes schools can do in assisting this?
First thing that came to my mind when me and my dad were coming up with these questions was, at school, we always talk about how a change needs to happen. And my friends, as they're going to protest or talking amongst each other, they're talking about how a change needs to happen. And one of my friends and I, we were talking about it, and we were just thinking, nobody's been able to give us the knowledge we need to implement the change. Because this year I was thinking about how that common phrase, knowledge is power, like when I was little, I always thought, I hate reading, I don't care about this knowledge thing, I'm gonna go watch TV or go play with some toys. And then this year in middle school and the last few years keep happening where people of my skin tone, lighter or darker, keep getting killed, and so much of our communities don't have the knowledge to make this change happen. And the school system, as screwed up as it is, there needs to be a change that allows kids like myself and my friends to be able to know the history that happened, not that Christopher Columbus came over, sailed the ocean blue in 1492. That don't matter. My guy was committing atrocities across the board. We need to understand that so much of our country was built on the backs of slaves, and we're not credited for that. And that knowledge that we should be able to make a change, and the power struggle that is going on with the police and the black communities needs to be broken down and rebuilt so that there's some sort of equality amongst all of us. There's a lot that the school system needs to be able to teach us, especially since I'm gonna be 18 within the next 5-6 months or so, and I'm gonna be out in the world, and I don't fully know how I can make the change, but however it's gonna happen, I'm gonna be able to teach myself part or all so that I can start that change as soon as possible, because it needs to happen.
Yeah. That makes sense. You had a good advisor, the guy that was
Yeah.
acting like your dad. Tell me what made you cry. What you were saying earlier, like, you had some tears. What did you think of George Floyd when you first heard that, when you watched the video?
When I watched the video, I was still in my funk of this is. Well, I was like semi within the span, like the mindset of this needs to be a notion to people that this still needs to stop. But there's been so many accounts of it being like people get enraged, carry it for a little while, and then it drops. And I was really hoping this time it wouldn't drop off again.
Mm-hmm.
And it hasn't. But when I saw the video, I was in a state of I feel bad that this happened, but I don't like there's a part of me that does care and a part of me that doesn't care because I still have to look out for myself, my family members that are all black, my cousins, my my younger cousins that are like little brothers or sisters to me. I still have to watch out for them, and I can't really be worried about the other guy that got taken out. As much as it pains me to say that, but it definitely that those kind of incidents, like the man, I wish I could remember their names, but the one that happened years ago with the other guy yelling that he couldn't breathe, that one that shattered my heart, and I was crying for days.
Yeah.
Because I didn't understand why, like, what would possess someone who's supposed to be a protector of the people. They're supposed to be the guard dogs or the people in power that are supposed to protect every single citizen. Every single citizen. You allowed yourself to be enthralled and corrupted with that power to take out someone you were supposed to protect. Disgusting.
Yeah.
And I was filled with so much like rage and sadness, but those are different moments that made me cry, and I still feel very, very deeply about them.
Yeah. Joe Reddish says, Justice, you are starting to build your resiliency skills. You'll have to watch last night's episode. That is stepping back to see how you can make a difference. There's 7 resiliency skills that, you should reach out to Joe. Great guy. Ron Sweeney, Justice, your parents are 2 of the most honorable, respectable people I know. As you know, Dad is a strong man, but his faith has guided him in how he stays up for there for 10 seconds, and how he responds to these serious social issues. Do you think that has influenced how you experience these situations?
I'm not really sure.
Yeah. Has your dad has had a big influence on you, and your mom, of course. But as a male, you think your dad he's kind of set you on the course?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Because me and him, he's older, of course, but I'm dealing with the same things that he's had to deal with, and I'm dealing with new things that he won't have to deal with, whether it be because I'm new blood now or because he passes away. So
Yeah.
there's definitely guidance that he's giving me, but definitely he's making me aware that these are different situations and different tones of society that I'll be dealing with, whether or not I'm ready, but he's definitely making me ready for it.
Yeah, there you go. A lot of people are responding. Deb Burton, Justice, you are wise beyond your years. Your courage to come on a live show and share your truth to truth, so many is what will make a change. You are the change that so many want to see in the world. Or your response versus your peers. Well, Linda, you're definitely more knowledgeable about the issues than when I was 17. Yeah, I feel like, kids your age now have like so much more to think about, right? I mean, back when I was your age, you know what I was thinking about? Do I buy the new Styx album or this new band called Cheap Trick? I'm serious. That was, you know, you don't even know those bands, so I'm dating myself. That's what I was thinking back then. And a lot of my friends, you know, but you're thinking of social injustice and how do I navigate through the world, and you don't realize it, but we had it easier back then, but racism was, I want to say, more powerful back then. It had more of a grip. I don't know, it's still got a grip now. It's the oldest news headline, and America cannot shake that headline. It's been in the news forever. I can't wait for it to go away. Carly, you mentioned that knowledge is a power. What have you read or reading to get your knowledge to empower you as a black man? Anything that's empowering you that you're reading? Or even watching as a TV?
Here, let me grab the book real quick.
Yeah. You're listening to Wine with Dave, by the way, and this is a Pinot Grigio. This is my little break because he's 17 and I, you know. This isn't an advertisement, just for the record.
This book was one of them that I've been reading. It's Dreams from My Father by Barack Obama.
Mm-hmm.
It goes through Barack Obama's youth. I'm trying to remember. It's been a little while, but this was one that my dad got me, or was gifted by a professor that studied racism, and I think she was a Holocaust survivor too.
Mm-hmm.
There's just like a lot behind this book as a gift, but yeah, there's just like a lot behind this book, and then
learning about the history of what he learned from his dad.
Yeah.
I haven't read that, but Amo Faye says his dad set him on the right course while his mom helped to steer the ship. Such a thoughtful young man. So what do you think of your mom? Now that she's not
awesome.
She's not in your bedroom right now, right? If she was, she would tell you to clean it up, Mr. Mouthy. But
probably, yeah.
But what do you think of your mom? What's your thoughts on your mom? How is that? How has your mom entered your DNA?
My mom, how she entered the DNA.
The DNA of justice is half of your mom. The Liberian, the African.
Definitely through like just like basic stuff. My looks, like definitely have good looks from my mom and my dad, but my nose, like the way.
All right, I'm changing your superhero name. It's not Cocky Boy. It's not Mouthy Boy. It's Cocky Boy. My looks, I'm very beautiful, so it definitely comes from my mom. Come on, dude, be a little humble there. No.
I don't know. There's so much that my mom does for me. Like, it's hard to quantify like into a lot of words.
Mm-hmm.
Just how much she's helped me grow as a person.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it be like today, I had a headache and I was being irritable and I was being like not mean, but not great.
Mm-hmm.
But she acknowledges my apologies, or she takes care of me no matter what. I don't know. There's just so much that my mom does. I forget about this stuff, but there's so much that I appreciate that she does too.
Yeah. Well, Ron Sweeney says Felicia is a woman of noble character. She really is.
Absolutely.
Felicia, your mom. I won't use her first name, but she's very real. When I talk to her, she's just like, you know, when you look her in the eye, what she's saying, she means and she feels deeply for. She's a mom that knows what she wants. So she
Absolutely.
cares a lot about you. I know both of your mom and dad really well. She has always been a quiet storm, says Amo Faye. Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah, that's cool. She loves from the
She's the quiet guardian. That's how I think of my mom.
Yeah, that's a good one. Alana says she loves from the heart. Man, there's so many questions I have for you, but let me ask this last one. What's most important for you as a black man?
For me, I think the most important thing is being able to look at the black community and not have any regrets and just be entirely proud of what it is and what it's transformed into, and then being able to support the people that are around me who are dealing with struggles. Just there's so much that is important to me as a black man, but just as a person coming up too, because of all the issues that we're going to be dealing with pretty soon.
Mm-hmm.
Being able to support the people that are around me is just as important as being able to be proud of my community.
Mm-hmm. It's good. Being a supporter, yeah. I've always known you as just Justice Smith. I don't see the color. I just see that's Justice. You know, he's a cool kid. You're like, you know what you're like, and I was talking to your dad earlier today. You're like an old soul. Do you ever hear that phrase?
Yeah.
So some people have that, and you talk to them and you feel like, man, you could be 17 or 90. You sound the same. You're gonna impart wisdom on me when you're 90. Of course, I'll be 390. But
Nice.
well, no, it's not nice because I'll be dead. But you'll be there. I want you to give my eulogy, and you better remember that because it's on video. But no, you're like an old soul. You've got wisdom that's just really deep, and your mom and dad just imparted that on you. But a lot of it is you. You've gone after really thinking through things and saying, I want to attach myself to that. And you're a good kid. That's all I'm going to say about that.
Thank you.
You're a good kid. Got to hang out with my son. So last question here. Collie's asking a lot of questions here. What do you want to see in the black community? How do you plan to contribute to your black community now and in the future? I think you've kind of answered that. You might partake in some marches, but really just being a voice, right? Speaking out. And I'm so glad you're actually doing this right now. This helps.
Yeah.
As Ron Sweeney just said, thanks, Justice, for being willing to do this. It's 10:03. I went late with you. I was watching the clock. I'm like, I am not stopping this because the world needs to hear from you, my friend. You are the future. You are the future.
Thank you.
All right, I'm going to let you go.
All right.
I got to get little baby mouthy Justice to bed. Carly, just one last thing. Carly, I love Childish Gambino. This is America, which depicts the state of black America. How did that change? Carly, stop the questions. He's got to go to bed. Okay. Take care, my friend. I wish I could reach out and hug you, but
Same.
it's cool just drinking a glass of wine with you.
Grab mine.
There you go. Take care. Wow, what a cool kid. Justice Smith. Yeah, Deb Burton. Amazing young man. Thank you. Yeah, isn't he? Isn't he though? That kid, tonight, probably the last 2 weeks is the first night I have a lot of hope. I mean, I had hope because of all not the rioting and the looting. That is not good, people. We all know that. That's not good. It's the peaceful protesting and raising awareness and grabbing your flashlights and shining it down on the minorities that they need the focus now because of the injustice. But I've had hope there, but I really have hope tonight. Man, that's great. Yeah, he's love the youth, Generation Z. That's the future. Alana, thank you, Justice, for sharing your experience, thoughts, feelings, and your awareness of the need to set personal boundaries in social media where and when you engage in protests and interactions. You're an incredible young man. Boy, that thing only lasts for 10 seconds. I got to read it quick. He is an incredible young man, Alana. Let him know. Shoot him an email. I didn't put anything under his name. You can't shoot him an email or phone. He is underage. But reach out to him. Hope. Agreed. Thank you. Yeah, lots of hope. And he wants to be an engineer, Rick. He wants to be an engineer. Call him up. Hey, I'm going to do this. I know it's 10:05, but I'm going to switch to this theme. Live for 5. I've got my phone, okay? So if you want to respond, here's how it works. Where is it? I got it locked. Let me do this. All right. So you see that. There's my phone. If you have an iPhone, for 5 minutes, that's why it's called Live for 5, you can call me. There's my number, 345-9036. If you want to send me hate mail like I got last night, there it is. Text me. I'll listen. FaceTime me now. Just call me. Boom. You will show up right there. And we can go late. I don't have to end at 10. It's already after 10:06. We'll go 10:15. Got a lot of people listening. Just share for like 5 minutes, 2 minutes, even 1 minute what you think of the future of America via Justice Smith. Call me, 345-9036. I'm going to be here for another 10 minutes or so because why quit now, right? That was really encouraging. What a great kid. Oh my gosh. There needs to be more of him. See, that's when I believe in cloning. I don't believe in cloning, but after an interview with Justice Smith, I believe in cloning. Have the world filled with Justice Smiths. Man, can you imagine? Think about that. What if the world was filled with a lot of you? That's humbling. All of your weaknesses and strengths. Would you want to live in a world of you? I'd want to live in a world full of Justice Smiths. I'll just tell you that. Something to think about. Ron Sweeney, thanks, Dave. Thank you, Ron. Thank you for being you and all your humor in calling me out on drinking with an underage kid. It's virtual, though. It's not real. All right. Anybody want to take me up? This is a segment. In the segment, you got to do something. So no one's doing something. I'm waiting for this phone. This phone will ring. Boom. Right over there. It's going to ring. Someone's going to do 345-9036. And please don't let it be Rick Greenwood because he does it all the time. Come on. 1,100 people watched last night's show. There could be 800 people watching right now. I have to review and kind of look at the stats. But maybe I'll take this thing down. Maybe people don't want to talk on live. They don't care. But listen, 17-year-old got up there and had the bravery to speak in front of all you people, and you can't even call me for 1 minute? That's the Irish guilt, the Catholic Irish guilt that was laid on me years ago. Laying the guilt. No, I don't believe in the guilt thing. But anyway, I'm going to end the night. Let's go back to this. Let's go back to this because clearly no one wants to talk to me. Great conversation. He is one of the many seeds of the future. Absolutely. Sorry, Dave, I don't have an iPhone. Well, that's a good reason. That's a good reason, Alana. That's cool. Tempted to call, but can't do it. That's right. I love hearing from Rick. He calls me probably 2 or 3 nights a week, and we talk and we chat. It's been great, but that's cool. Suzanne Bays, I have an Android, but I think you're doing a great job. Love your guests. I know, it's too bad I can't bring on Android or Google Pixel phone people. Only iPhone has the FaceTime. Hey, go figure. Hey, I got to go. I just had my friend Mary Cartwright down in North Carolina send a friend of hers up to stay with us for 5 days, and she's laughing in the other room. I haven't met her. She's like 22 years old. She wants to experience Newport and the mansions. Newport and the mansions. So thank you. Tomorrow night, The women are in the house. We got women representing. Kristen Wilson, an old friend of mine. She doesn't hold back. I'm going to tell you that right now. She might say some things that might jar you. But, so anyway. Oh, we got a live for 5. Do we have a live for 5? We've got a live for 5. Carly, how are you? I'm trying to, There she is. How's it going?
I had to do it.
You had to do it. Good. I'm so glad. What do you think? What do you think of justice? Are we in good hands in the future?
Oh, I think it's great. I think, that's what it's about. I think in all the reading you read about the civil rights and what it took, there were a lot of young people, a lot of college, a lot of young people that participated in the civil rights movements that made a change. And so I definitely think he's right on time, and they need all of our encouragement and all of our support, and I think it's great. North Attleboro, actually, their high school organized the march, and a lot of people were saying in Providence that the march there, a lot of the protesters were a lot of young kids. So I think it's great. I think it's their time, and they are ready, and it's our job to to encourage them and to give them the tool to do so. So I think Justice was great. It was just a great young man.
Yeah.
But he's from great parents, so you don't expect any less.
You know, I think that's really the theme of tonight's episode. It's parenting. You know, think about that.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Absolutely.
what can you do? Can you change the school department? Can you change the police department? Can you change the prosecution? Can you change the justice system? There's so many things you can change, but honestly, it comes down to Rick and Felicia Smith. They raised a good boy. Isn't it really all about that? It's all about parenting.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's where you learn racism, right? That's where you learn your behavior. That's where you learn and you get basically everything, the good and the bad and the ugly. You know, as you hear, racism is a learned behavior. You weren't born racist, so a lot has to do how you grew up, your environment, your parents, and what they passed on to you and what they taught you. So absolutely. So be careful what you say, be careful what you do, and be careful what you teach your kids, because they're our exact mirror, exact replica of who you are.
Right,
so,
right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep, kids are listening.
Great show, Dave. That's great. I tuned in last night. It was awesome. So keep up the good work. You're spreading the word, and you're doing your part in a way. So, yeah.
Right, that's cool. Wow. I just saw that tonight it reached 1,835 people. So
Very good. That just means more hate mail coming.
You're the best. Thank you for coming on.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
All right. Take care, Carly. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye.
Yeah, I'm low on battery. That was cool. That was really cool. So, it's 10:13. I've never gone this late. But tomorrow night, Kristen Wilson. And thank you, Carly, for coming on. That was really good. But you can do that. Anyone can do that. She was only on for, 3 minutes, 2 minutes? Just come on and just say your piece. Say what you're feeling. Deb Burton was like, wait, Rick Smith of Brown? Yes, that Rick Smith of Brown University. I didn't know you knew him. Okay, gotta go. Alana, she's going to be the last one. But we need to change the equity in schools and opportunities. Yes, parenting is where it starts, but too many parents in underserved areas do not have the resources and tools they need to parent effectively. Well, that's true as well. Yep. So listen, tomorrow night, Kristen Wilson, single woman, caregiver. She doesn't hold back. So maybe put earplugs in, maybe don't. We're in hump day tomorrow, so we're halfway through this. Women bringing the power. Guys, have a good night. And I will see you tomorrow on Wine with Dave, Racism Week, Wednesday, June 10th. episode 50. Yes, I've reached episode 50. I did it. That was 49. Tomorrow is 50. Take care, everyone. Remember, everyone has an expiration date. Treat everyone with respect and love.